We are back in the place, Kingdom Ox on all the social medias. Yo, man, we gotta. I call sometimes. It's certain people in this genre that are, I would say, living legends, and some people who are like really masters of their crafts. And the guy that I have today is a master of his craft. YP,
Yo,
aka
yo.
Young Paul, is in the building.
Yeah, my brother.
How you
What's
doing,
good,
man?
man? I'm good, man. I appreciate that. Appreciate that shout out, man. Praise God.
Yeah,
That's very humbling, and I appreciate that very much, man. Thank you so much.
yeah. I always see different people like in Christian hip hop as like when we do those like track stars do the next up list, and it's more like I know at times other platforms focusing on the freshmen, which is cool, but
Yeah,
I think at times we forget about the whole school sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
right,
So
right.
and to
That's a
me,
fact.
it's like I was doing my research on you going back and some stuff, and I was like, man, he's been putting in work for a couple years, man.
Yeah, it's been
So
a minute.
so tell us about that, bro. Tell us about your start. How'd you get started? I want to hear your story, man, because I don't know if I know all of your story. So
Yeah,
let's get to it, man.
yeah, man. Well, yeah, I've been putting in work in the space for a minute.
Yeah.
I was putting out mixtapes. I want to say since 2000. I want to say 2009, 2010. I was putting out mixtapes with DJ Sean Blue,
Yeah.
DJ I Rock Jesus.
Yeah.
Those mixtapes, I can't even find a lot of those.
Wow.
Uh, I put out mixtapes with DJ Wado. Um, and it's funny because right now I'm actually working on a tape, just like I used to do back in the day, just rapping over like classic industry beats,
Yeah.
currently and, old school, taking it back. But anyway, and yeah, man, just been putting out mixtapes around that time. So yeah, I got saved around that time. Um, and ever since just been, taking off. I did take like a 3 year layoff. I want to say from like 2014 to 2016, like a two year layoff.
Yeah.
Just for personal reasons and stuff like that. I just felt like I needed to, step away for a little bit. But yeah, man, I want to say from like 2009, 2010 till now, just putting out mixtapes, EPs, albums, videos, freestyles, everything.
Yeah. What
Yeah,
was what's the work ethic like you saying I'm putting out stuff all the time, like where did you
yeah.
get that work ethic? Like did that come from like family? Did that come from
Hmm.
the culture? What was
Yeah.
how did you get that work ethic like you were saying, because that's a lot of material.
It's a lot. It's a lot. I've been
Yeah.
putting out. I look back. I'm like, dang. I put out at least, bodies of work at a total of like, I want to say, man, at least 15 mixtapes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
15,
Yeah.
20 mixtapes. But yeah, it just comes from, I don't know. I think the hustle in me.
Yeah.
The grind, the grit, just going to get what I want.
Yeah.
And once God revealed to me, once God gave me the green light, and He revealed to me that this is what He called me to do.
Yeah.
I just took off, man. I just started studying my craft. My prayer to God was, Lord, I want to put out music that, you know, like I think about a lot of my homies, you know what I'm saying, that I used to
Yeah.
kick with on the block or whatever. I
Yeah.
used to I used to pull up on them playing my mixtapes. It
Yeah.
was it was a form of evangelism,
Yeah.
and and I wanted to test the waters and see if they was digging it or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my prayer to God was like, Lord, help me really sharpen this thing, help me study it. I want to put out good music that even somebody who is not an active believer or a quote unquote non-believer or whatnot, that they could still respect it, give it a chance, listen to it, you know what I mean, and
Yeah.
appreciate it. And man, I feel like God been answering that prayer.
Wow. So
Yeah.
man, talk about the block. Some like I
Hmm.
Jersey, right? Jersey, right?
Born in Jersey
Jer-
City. Born in Jersey City.
Good people come from New Jersey, baby. Good
That's right.
people
Let's
come from
go.
New Jersey. East Orange all the way. East Orange from Jersey
Shout out to
City.
East Orange. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Talk
Hey.
about that, man. What was it like growing up in Jersey City, man?
Yeah, so I was born on West Side of Community Pool. Then I moved to the Heights in
Okay.
Jersey City. Jersey City is a lot like the Bronx. I live in the Bronx. I've been in the Bronx now for over 10 years at this point.
Got you.
So that's New York kind of adopted me, but it's Jersey all day, baby. You
Yeah.
know, I just
Yeah.
rep both now. But
Yeah.
it's funny. I was watching. I forgot which artist I saw yesterday, and they was repping Harlem. Oh no, actually Ken Stars. He went to go get interviewed by my man. You know Ken Stars, the
His name
Instagram
sounds
dude.
familiar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like an Instagram comedian. He's pretty big on that platform. But anyway,
Yeah.
they were interviewing him, and he was like, "Yeah, man, Harlem and the Bronx." And I'm like, "Yo, it's like a thing now, yo. Like people just got two boroughs now. They rep two states that they rep."
So like
So,
the
but yeah,
Bronx.
Jersey City is a lot like the Bronx.
Yeah.
It's like a smaller version of the Bronx,
Yeah.
and you know, uh, a lot of crime, a lot of
Yeah.
poverty, a
Yeah.
mixture of black and brown,
Yeah.
Puerto Ricans and blacks, just like the Bronx.
Yeah.
So it was rough. I think that plays a part in the grit that I got, and
Yeah.
that like I'm gonna keep going. Nothing gonna stop me. I think growing up in those neighborhoods, having that type of
Yeah.
mentality that you can't just lay on the ground because they'll stomp you out.
Jesus. You just
Yeah,
can't lay on the ground. They just stomp you
yeah,
out.
fact.
Dang. That's crazy work. Nah, that's
Yeah,
crazy, bro. But just talk about that. Like even the difference of because I mean I think people always felt like to a certain extent New York was hard and Jersey wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember growing
that's a
up and
fact.
everybody growing up in the 80s and 90s in New Jersey and people be like, "Where you from?" And you going to New York? I'm from New Jersey. Oh, y'all. You know what I'm saying? You know what I
Yo,
mean?
that's a fact. Yo,
So
my
what
bro.
what are your thoughts about that growing up in Jersey City? Like you were like maybe 2 minutes away from New York. So like
Facts.
yeah, you
So
know what I mean?
the part of Jersey, so Jersey City, shout out to West New York because I lived in West New York for a
Yeah,
nice portion of my life too. My block was on West New York, West New York, New Jersey. So Hudson County, Jersey City, West New York,
yeah,
Union City, all of that. Hudson County is like a long strip.
yeah,
Just different towns. New York got boroughs, Jersey got towns. But
yeah,
that's a fact. When I be around my New York guys and when we run around New York or we bump into New York dudes, it is that. It's like, yo, I ain't know, that you Jersey dudes gave it up like that. Like I feel like you from New York. I feel like you one of us. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yeah, because y'all only think about Jersey, you only think about like Central Jersey or like the wooded
yeah,
areas. You know what I'm saying? That's more country and stuff like that. But you got North Jersey that's so close to New York that you could clearly see the impact. You know what I
yeah,
mean? You see the influence.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, man, that is definitely funny. I be having these back and forths with my New York guys. I'm like, yo, man, stop sleeping on Jersey, man. All right. I know a lot of y'all feel like you move because the thing is they get their money, they get rich and they move to
Yeah.
Jersey. I don't like
The
when they
qu-
talk like that. What you mean you get rich and you move to Jersey? Yeah, I wish you would walk around certain parts of Jersey like it's safe. That's a fact. And you said
That's
East
that
Orange, right, my
chain.
bro? You said
Yeah,
East Orange? Oh
yeah,
man. East Orange, they
yeah,
better recognize Newark, East Orange, Patterson. Shout out to
yeah,
all them hoods. Camden,
yeah, yeah. They
yeah,
getting
these
it
places are
popping.
no joke. Trenton,
Yeah, and
you know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah. Well, I think
Fact.
the funny part is growing up there, we didn't
Yeah.
have we had cliques when I was growing up in East Orange. So it wasn't
Okay.
like gang like how it is now, but back
Yeah.
then it was more cliques like different streets or like projects and stuff
Facts.
like that.
Facts. Facts.
So so now when people talk about New Jersey, they talking about Bloods, Cribs, they talking about Latin gangs, they talking about all types of gangs, and it's like, man, this is crazy. So it's like
You,
if
it,
for
it's
me, go ahead, bro.
My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was gonna say though, it's funny though because you're right. I came up in the era of blocks. Like we
Yeah,
repped blocks,
yeah,
and
yeah.
but what I started noticing is a lot of my homeboys started becoming blood. Like my
Really?
whole block started turning into like a whole block of Bloods because a lot of dudes from
Wow.
Harlem, because we were so close to New York,
Yeah,
so a
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
the New York guys were coming, with Stain and all of that, where they were, bringing people in,
yeah.
and that whole blood culture was heavy in the part of
Wow.
Jersey I was from.
Yeah,
I was running around with a bunch of Bloods at a certain point. At that, they
yeah.
were calling me bulletproof and all that. These are street terminologies because I was so heavily associated with them. I was always around them. I was even putting in work at times. They would call me bulletproof or, all of that
Oh
stuff.
wow.
But I never really fully I was offered like, yo, man, I was putting in so much work on
Yeah.
my block and in my hood that a lot of my homeboys that were coming home that became blood who had mad respect for me were like, yo, he don't even got to shoot 31s. Like shoot 31s, like you got to shoot 31.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shoot the fade with someone for 31 seconds as kind of like the
Yeah.
initiation process. They were like, yo,
Yeah.
you don't even got to do that because we done seen you put in the work. You know what I mean? But I just never did it, man. I think,
Yeah.
yo, I think I have to say something. I never joined like any like those type of organized gangs
Yeah.
for the two main reasons that came to mind was one, I ain't gonna hold you. I was always growing up, the dudes in my life were tough dudes, and they grew up
Got you.
on streets, never like really
Yeah.
gangs. And they were always like, "Yo, you don't need a gang to be tough," Da, da, da. They were always
Yeah.
like drill that in me. And then also, I saw a lot of the guys that were coming home, and it's like when you join those gangs, you don't even gotta know a specific person, but you got to go and put work in
Mm.
for them because it's part
Yeah.
of the gang. Like you got, and I
Yeah.
was just like, "Yo, that didn't sit well with me. I didn't feel like that made any sense." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So. But you know, I would say like shortly after that is when I got saved. I gave my life to
Got you.
Christ. But a lot of my friends were definitely banging their sets and all of this stuff. A
Yeah.
lot of red, a lot of red in our neighborhood.
Wow. Do you think that's what's missing from the streets right now is missing them OGs to be like, yo, you don't need that, bro. Go down
Right.
this path. You know that do you feel like that's what's missing right now?
Yeah, man. I mean, look, a lot of the a lot of the old school dudes, like a lot of the old heads, um, are either dead in a prison. It's a shame because like, a lot of my friends that I came up with, man, are either dead or in jail.
Mm,
Um, and I don't know if they out there telling these young kids to take a different route. I'm gonna be honest with you. You
wow.
know,
Yeah.
I know some of my homies from back in the day do respect what I do because of that reason.
Yeah.
Um, I would hope that I would hope that there's more voices out there like myself
Yeah.
that could speak to these young kids and let them know what's what and what's really going on, behind the scenes and what's really going on in the spirit realm and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
I would hope there's more voices like that, especially from where I'm from. You know what I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
saying?
How did you like how was it transforming from the streets into the church? Like, was that a hard transition for you? Was that a situation where you was like, man, I'm losing people out here. I'm losing
Yeah,
my peeps. I'm losing my friends. I'm losing a lot of folks. But let
yeah,
me, Jesus, take my heart, man. But was that transition a big thing for you, or was it like God just graced me to just transition good? You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. That's a great question, man, because I don't think I've ever been asked that. Like, how was that transition?
Yeah,
I want to say that at first it wasn't easy. Like, I
yeah.
don't I don't think I've said this story enough, but when I first got saved, what God started doing with me was little by little he was sending people to me to minister to
Mm.
me. Like I remember one time I was in Jersey City, I was by Journal Square. You know where Journal Square is at, right?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, so Journal Square is like Port Authority in New York. Like
Yeah,
all the buses from all different, towns and cities and all go there. So it's kind of busy. Anyway, make a
yeah.
long story short, like I remember moments like this. Like me and this dude almost got into it, and like it was really intense. It was gonna go left quick, and this lady walks up to me, in the middle of all the chaos, and she's just like, she's like, I don't know what your name is, I don't know who you are, but the Lord is moving on my heart to tell you that He loves you,
Mm.
and just started ministering to me, and she kind of calmed me down.
Wow.
And I remember when I got on the bus, she sat behind me and she started worshiping. I know it sounds crazy,
Yeah,
but she
yeah,
started like kind of singing a hymn.
yeah.
She was like an older lady,
Yeah.
and man, it brought like a sense of peace over me,
Wow.
right? So
Yeah,
like that's one moment. Then just another time, I'm on like the light rail in Jersey. They have light rails where in New
yeah,
York they got the subway,
yeah,
and this dude, I'm by myself, and this dude just walks up to me and he's like, "Look, I just feel led by God to minister to talk to you." Da, da. So like seeds were being planted little by little,
yeah.
and I remember one of my homeboys got saved. Two of my homeboys. One
Mm.
of them I knew, he was known for like trapping in the hood,
Yeah,
and he looked like a whole new person. He looked totally transformed.
Wow. Wow.
And then my other man, same thing. You
Yeah.
know, he got shot in the back of his head and he survived.
Wow.
And I saw him and he was out there preaching Jesus. And I would be like, sometimes I'll be with like 30 of my dudes, you know, strolling through the hood, you know, walking around, figuring out what we're going to do next. It could be on a
Yeah.
Friday night. This dude will see me and he'll start ministering to me. And I would literally make all my boys don't. I mean, I couldn't force nothing, but I had influence because
Yeah.
I had
Yeah. Yeah.
respect where I was from.
Yeah.
So I'll tell dudes like, "Yo, listen to what he got to say, bro. Like, he kicking some real stuff." And he would sit there and minister to me, and I would start asking questions, and I feel like that was the Holy Spirit really working on my heart.
Yeah.
And at the time, man, I was just in a really, you know, really dark place. Like I was trying, like I was looking at my life, and I'm like, is this what I want? You know, I had gone to a crazy situation in one of them house parties that we still was. I put it in my Hector album. It's
Yeah.
called the House Party on 38, and I was there with like four dudes from my block, and we went to this party across the street from these projects that we had beef with. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
man.
And you know, we went over there being tough guys. Like we got this was a stupid
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
You know, we went over there, make a long story short, and went left. We were in there with the
Mm.
dudes that we had beef with from the projects, plus another gang that was there, and it ended up bad for us. You know, my man
Mm.
Mac, rest in peace. You know, you know, you know, we pretty much took a bad lick. You know,
Yeah.
I walked outside the party, my eyes was on dubs. I had Timberland imprints in my face.
Wow.
Um, you know, I remember I looked in the car window and I see my face and how bad up, like how beat up it looked, and I still started wailing, and it was just a crazy. It's like moments like that. Um, I remember being alone, you know, my face all beat up. I remember I was smoking a blunt with my man, and I was just like, yo, there got to be more to life than this, bro. Like, we're always in problems. Like, I don't like, look at me. Like, look at, you know, and I would start talking
Yeah.
to God, and I would remember all those people that were ministering to me, and I'm like, man, I think I need God in my life, man. Like, I really
Yeah.
need, I really need, and you know, this Jesus that they preached to me about, that He died for me and that He loves me. You know, I
Yeah.
really want to look more into that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was all God moving on my heart.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that was God moving on my heart. And so, make a long story short, I don't know how many times I said make a long story short, but you
It's all
know,
good, man.
yeah, my man Chobe that I tell you about, that you know, God really transformed his life. He looked completely different. I remember walking into a church. I was invited, and I seen him there. I was happy to see him, and it was like an old school Pentecostal church.
Oh wow.
And yeah, old school Pentecostal church. Like they was up in there speaking tongues and everything. I was kind of
Yeah.
weirded out by it. I'm like, yo, what am I doing here? And they did their altar call in the end. And you know, Pentecostal churches, yo, they pushy, they're aggressive. They gonna try to get you to that altar. You know what I'm saying? You know, so
Looking at you, pointing at you, like, "Hey, man, don't you
yeah,
want to go up?"
right. You know, and I was like, it was one of those like, you know, I want to, but I'm a little like embarrassed. There's mad people looking at me and stuff, and
Yeah.
you know, I actually did wind up going to the altar,
Yeah.
and you know they did the altar call and everything, and then my man that I'm telling you about was like, yo, why don't you come back? We have a Bible studies on Tuesday. Uh, and I was like, coming to church on a Tuesday, like that was so foreign to me. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
So I was like, I bet. And I remember that night, that night. Oh, and this is a crazy. Oh no, this is. I'm gonna fast forward to this, but it's a
Okay.
crazy, another crazy situation. But I go to my. At this point, I was back in Jersey City,
Yeah.
and I go to my crib, and a lot of my guys came over. You know, we were all there kicking it, chilling or whatever. And I start talking to them about Jesus. And mind you,
Yeah.
I just gave my life to Jesus, but we're there kicking it, smoking arrows,
Yeah.
brushing it down, talking slick or whatever. And I'm just talking to them like, yo, I ain't gonna hold you. Yo, I went to church today. You know what I mean? I give my life to Jesus. Da, da, da. And, I was opening up the conversation, but like obviously there was no real transformation happening yet. Like as
Yeah.
far as like, just decisions I was making in my life, but the conversation started
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
And fast forward to Tuesday, my man is hitting me up, and it just so happened to be like a nice day. You know how you get
Mm.
them nice days in the winter, like them one
Yeah.
hot days, and
Yeah.
everybody comes outside
Yeah.
because you missed those nice days.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially up
So
north, cold days. Yeah.
right, right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dang, yo, I told my man we're going to Bible studies. My boys is hitting me up like, yo, we out, we're gonna go chill. It's nice outside. Da, da, da. And I'm like, yo, Bible studies, go kick it. You know what I mean? So I was like, my boy starts calling me. I'm like, yo, I don't want to pick up the phone. They're like, yo, just tell him you go Sunday, bro. Who goes to church on Tuesday? And I'm just like, nah, that's messed up, man. That's my man. Because I respected his
Yeah.
transformation. I respected what God did in his
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, I don't want to play him like that. I ain't gonna do him like that. So I pick up and I'm like, yo, chill, yo, not today. Yo, I know I said I was gonna go, but I'm gonna definitely be there Sunday. He goes, oh, come on, man, what happened? And I was like, yo, I was like, yo, he's like, yeah, how about me and you talk for 5 minutes? Where are you? I'm like, I'm on the phone. I'm like, yo, he wanted to meet up. They were like, come on, heck, man, we got things to do. I'm like, yo, let's go 5 minutes, bro. I'm like, yo, come meet me here. So he comes, and he comes with my boy Manny, who was also saved at the time,
Yeah.
and them two, and they just start preaching that raw gospel that, yo, I'm not here to condemn you, but do you know where you going when you die? Like, Jesus
Yeah.
died on the cross for you. You know hell's a real place, and
Yeah.
just had the wheels turning, and told her,
Yeah.
yo, heck, you just gave your life to God. Like, these are the moves you got to make. Like, you got to detach and start changing your surroundings. And I'm like, oh man, yeah. I'm like, yo, I'm like, damn, I'm there with my homies, and I got him. Like, come on, come. So it's funny because then he stopped preaching, and you could tell it was like a moment of silence. Like, God really used him to minister to us. It was a moment of silence, and all my boys start walking away. They dap him up, and I stand there, and I'm like, yo. I keep saying I want to make a change. I want to do this.
Yeah.
I gotta make the sacrifices. So you know what? I'm gonna go. I said I'm gonna go. I'm gonna be a man of my word, and I'm gonna go. So all my
Wow.
boys look back at me. They're like, "Yo, you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna roll with them. I'm gonna go with them." And they're like, "All right." So they dap me up, and I'm in the car with them. And I remember this like it was yesterday. These guys are playing like old school Lecrae.
Wait, wait, wait,
They
wait, wait.
play,
What year was this?
this was like around the time when was it after the music stops or
Like '06? What year was this?
let me look at my I'm on my phone. Dang. What album it was I forget what's the name of the album, but he
It
had
had
like his
Jesus
hat to the
music.
back. Jesus music was
Yeah.
popping, right? That
Yeah, it was like '06.
riding with my top down. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're playing stuff like that. And I'm like, and they're hyped, reciting the lyrics. And I'm there in the back seat like, yo, what the heck is this, yo? Like, what am I doing? Yo, I'm just like, yo, what am I doing right now? So then I ain't gonna front. I was like upset at myself, like, yo, and I wasn't playing them out because I didn't understand what was going
Oh
on.
yeah, 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 yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
even know that there was Christian rap. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah.
So they're playing that, and I'm like, oh man, yo. So we get there, and he could tell that I don't want to be there.
Oh
It's a spiritual
wow.
battle. It's a spiritual
Yeah.
warfare. Like
Yeah, yeah.
the demons was in my head now. Like, yo,
Yeah.
fam, like you really going to church on a Tuesday? Yo, do you see the
Yeah.
weather? It's beautiful outside. Like your boys about to go be lit. You know what I'm saying? Like they about you already know the scenery,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
at that age there was no real responsibility. Like you just living life reckless, partying every
Yeah.
day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a spirit war. So on my way to church, the demons are at war. They're like,
Oh
they don't want me
wow.
to go. You feel me?
Yeah.
So all these thoughts are crossing my mind and stuff like that. And he could tell that I had my energy switched because I
Yeah.
forced myself to be there. And he was like, look, bro. He goes, listen, I know you don't want to be here. Because when I walk in, it's like a youth group. So there's a bunch of like church kids. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, man. I'm just like, everybody with mad joy, happy smiles on their face and all that. And I'm just like, I
You
didn't feel
thinking
like,
about the crew and trying to get
right,
back in
right,
with
right.
them.
I'm like, yo, what am I doing? So he knows that I don't want to be there. He could clearly see it in my face and
Yeah.
stuff. But I know, God was working with him and revealing to
Yeah.
him, like, yo, talk to him. So he was like, look, I know you don't want to be here. He was like, just be honest with God about that. Talk to God. Because remember, I was used to a religious way of I was used to a religious format when it came to God, like Catholicism, like Hail
Got you.
Marys and all of this stuff. But he was
Yeah.
like, "Yo, talk to God, like you, like, tell him straight up that you don't feel like being, that you want His help, you want Him to really help you understand what this is all about and all of that stuff."
Yeah.
And I did it. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that. And I remember I prayed to God, and it's funny because he got on his knees on the altar next to me, and he's over there, you know, praying and getting all into it. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, oh man, this is all crazy to me. And I said, look, God, I heard my boy preach to me, and there's clearly things um that I do that you're not okay with. And as a human, I don't know how I could detach myself from a lot of these things. So
Wow.
if you're the God that they say you are, I need you to help me, pretty much break these chains.
Yeah.
Like right now, I don't want to be here, but
Yeah.
if my soul is at stake, then I need some type of help here because I might not ever come back.
Wow.
And I remember I say that prayer, and we all sit in a circle, and my man Chova was like, "Yo, I'm gonna play a sermon," and it was that classic Paul Washer sermon. Paul Washer,
Yeah, yeah,
he
yeah,
get
yeah,
he get busy. So it was like a classic Paul Washer sermon where he was like, "I knocked on every Christian door, and 99% of them said they were Christian, but their life showed no fruits of it." Going crazy.
Wow.
And I'm just there like,
Wow.
I'm like, hey, I thought I had a relationship with God. I might not. I might not have a relationship with God. This guy really exposing me. And I'm like, all right, yo, that sermon really hit me hard.
Yeah.
And I felt like God answered my prayer because I started to loosen up a little bit and really hear what the sermon was saying, and
Yeah.
just the information and understanding things.
Yeah.
It started to just put things in perspective for me, and from that time on, I will have to say that God been dealing with me since.
Oh
Obviously
wow.
it's been a bumpy road, it's been up and down, I've
Yeah.
backslid, I've come back, but
Yeah.
it's a narrow road, man, for a reason.
Yeah.
The more I walk this walk with the Lord, I understand more and more why He calls it a narrow road, because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
um
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, man. So in a nutshell, that's pretty much that was my conversion, from streets to
Yeah.
Christ and all of that stuff. And it's funny.
That's
I forgot I forgot to mention a pivotal part that's hilarious. Listen, man. Rest in peace to my man Mac Spencer. Love him to death.
got you.
He was shot and killed.
Wow.
Um, right there. While his mom was home and all that.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to my brother. I love him. But when I was on my way to church, when I was going through the battle,
Yeah.
we passed my block and I see him and he's like, yo, what you doing? Where you going? And I'm like, I'm going to church. And he literally opens the door because, my boys is clowns. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
He opens, the door was unlocked. He opens the door. He grabs me like, yo, you ain't going nowhere. Come here. Yeah. Yo, I swear on everything I love. He's like, yo, you ain't going nowhere. What you mean you going to church, bro? And my guys that were in the front, they knew about my block. They knew who my guys were. So, but they didn't get offended. They started
Yeah.
laughing sort of. And I was like, yo, man, get off me, bro. I'm changing my life. I ain't gonna stay here with y'all. I'm out of here. You know? you know?
Yo,
but
that's amazing, bro.
yo, that's
That's
so crazy.
amazing.
That
Yeah,
is so. He's like, where you go? We passed by my block, and he runs up to the back seat. I don't know how the door was open. He opens the door. He grabs me. Come on, you ain't going nowhere. What you mean you going to church? Like he thought I was going crazy. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? So for them, it's like, yo,
yeah,
he lost it. He's losing his mind. What is he doing? But in
yeah,
reality, I'm like, oh no, yeah, my brain really being washed. Like I'm really
yeah,
seeing things for what it is, bro.
yeah.
You know?
Did you feel like that message was a message that changed everything for you? Was the message that Paul? I was gonna say Paul Walker. Paul Washer was
yeah.
that Paul Washer like message? The message that you needed at that point to say, "I'm cemented. I'm going this way. I'm going down this narrow path."
Absolutely. Hearing my man Chova's testimony, the testimony and the people preaching to me, like I was telling you, those people randomly coming up to me, those were the seeds
Yeah,
being planted. Remember, I was asking a lot of questions. I started getting intrigued with who Christ was and
Yeah.
heaven and hell and angels and demons. But then that Paul Washer sermon, I think, was the first time I really felt that hard conviction.
Got
You know
you.
what I mean? You feel
Got
what I'm
you.
saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like God was showing me his love first,
Yeah.
and he drew me near to him with that love. But then he
Yeah.
also said, I'm also, you know, I'm also a God of wrath, and I want you to know that
Mm.
there's this side of me that I need you to know about, and I
Yeah.
love you. I love you that much that my will is that you don't perish. So I
Yeah.
also got to tell you this. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Because we get so many messages about the love of God, because I think the love of
Yeah.
God is so real, because God is, I mean, the fact that I mean, being in the streets, for you, the love of
Mhm.
God was with you at that party when that
Mhm.
happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he could easily took you out, but his love and mercy
Absolutely.
was there. You know, but I think
Yeah.
sometimes we don't hear about the wrath of God, and how the wrath of God ain't no joke. Like the
Listen,
wrath of God, it would be, you know, and
that's a fact.
one of his wraths is like, hands off. I'll let you do you. Like I'll let you be
Facts.
unprotected, and I'll let you
Yeah.
go do whatever's in your heart that you said is better than me. I'll put my hands off of it and let you go do you.
Right. Right. That's a fact. And I think that because of those type of sermons, like just being tapped in with Paul
Yeah.
Washer, and it's crazy. Like, Paul Washer, God used to bring that conviction, but let's not get it twisted. And I tell people this all the time. I was fascinated with Benny Hinn's ministry.
Okay.
Seeing thousands of people in Uganda
Yeah.
falling at the same time, it's like, yo, how do you can't act that out? Like something's happening here. You feel what I'm saying? You feel me? And I'm like, yo, I literally used to feel. I feel like I used to feel God's presence through the screen. Like
Mm.
I was like, I want to pray like that. It helped my prayer life because
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I want to pray and have that type of power. Like I want to be
Yeah.
able to pray for people and they fall. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah,
No, that's real.
that's
That's real.
facts.
But
You
but
know?
I think the question goes back to like even that, because I mean, to me personally, I know a lot of people give certain pastors a lot of flack, but
Yeah.
sometimes when I see them, they be talking sense. I'll be like, how do y'all? They be wait. I'm confused, because he's saying the right thing. Everybody like, yo, he a false prophet. I'm like, but he's
Right.
saying the right thing. He's saying the thing that sounds good to me, and I'm in my word. So I'm like, you know what I mean. So, but I think, I think the question goes to also like, do you feel like God gives you those situations to be like, this is what I called you to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, even when you
Right.
say like what Benny Hinn is like, you can
Yeah.
obviously, because some of them cats, even on the Paul Washer side, are
Yeah.
like, yo, the gifts are ceased. Nobody uses the gifts no
Exactly.
more. But you
That
like, I'm seeing the gifts live and in
so
color.
listen, this is what's so bugged out as I grow in Christ and I understand things a little more, and
Yeah,
I look back and I'm like, wow, Lord, like the way you were ministering to me were from both angles, which is why, as a man of faith, I respect the reform community, like I
yeah,
respect their discipline when it comes to studying scripture and really knowing that, sharpening your sword. But I also appreciate the charismatic. So it's like the Calvinists and Arminians. I appreciate the Arminians or the charismatic non-denomination for their,
yeah,
like, the way they worship, the way they praise, the way they move in the
yeah,
spirit.
yeah.
My rap ministry career, whatever you want to call it, was prophesied to me.
Oh
It was
wow.
prophesied to me. I was praying about it. I didn't tell this lady. Her name was Lady Cruz. She was like an international preacher. She was also an artist, but
Yeah.
she had the gift of prophecy.
Wow.
And I was in this little Pentecostal church. No one knew that this was my prayer to God. I was
Yeah.
writing rhymes. And I was like, Lord, if this is something you want me to do, then I'll pursue it and I'll do it. Whatever you want. At this point, I'm
Yeah.
sold out for Jesus.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I'm just like, whatever you want. But I also didn't want it to be a waste of time. And like I told you, I said I want to
Yeah.
put out good work. I want to put out a good product. So this lady who I don't know from, oh no, I don't know her. She don't know me. I don't know her. She straight up walks up in there. She's preaching, da da da, and God used her in that prophetic realm.
Yeah.
And she straight up points at me and she's like, God called you. She said in Spanish, she said, God called you to create music and speak to the youth. You're an artist. She just started, and I just started bawling, my brother. Like,
Wow.
you know what I mean? And I just
Wow.
started
Yeah.
bawling. I'm like, wow, Lord, like that's crazy. She don't even know me, and she didn't even
Yeah.
know that. that's something I was praying about, and you know,
Yeah.
so yeah, man. So yeah, I respect both camps. You know,
Yeah.
that's why for me, I don't just say I'm this or I'm that. I'm like, yo, man, I love Jesus, and you know, there's things I disagree on both spectrums, and there's things that I could take from both sides. You
Yeah.
know, yeah,
That's crazy that that happened to you, that your gift was edified by another gift.
right,
Like your
facts,
gift was edified by another gift. Somebody using their God given gift of prophecy to come to you and go, "Boy, hey man, God said do that music that you put in your heart," and you don't know. That's the shocking part to me is when
yeah,
I hear stories like that. When people go, "Man, I don't know this lady from Adam. I heard of her, but I don't know her personally," and she
yeah,
came up and said that. So that's like
yeah,
the Lord
yeah,
speaking. You know what I'm saying? So
facts.
that's crazy, man. Like, so did your ministry? Did your Where did you go from there? Like after that confirmation, where did you go from there? Like with your music, how did you just get started? What was your end game? Like getting
So
into this thing called Christian hip hop?
so it's crazy. Not a lot of people know this. Again, at the time, I had moved back to Jersey City.
Okay,
I was living in the Heights, and I was close to Daniel Steels. You know Daniel Steels.
Daniel Stills. Daniel Stills. I
He
think his
he he was drumming. He was a drummer for Andy Mineo. Then he got signed to Humble Beast. He was a
okay,
producer.
okay.
Yeah, and then he did yeah, well, I think he's pretty solidified CHA as far as producing is
Yeah,
concerned.
yeah, 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 yeah.
D
I think
Steels,
yeah, I think
Danny
yeah,
T.
yeah, yeah. I think I remember
Yeah.
his name. Yeah,
So anyway, he uh he used to do stuff like I said with Humble Beast with Braille and them, but you
yeah,
know the Asian brother that passed away, I forgot his name. DJ Effecto.
yeah, 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 yeah.
They
I
used
think
to
I
have
yeah,
like they were like a duo. Oh, anyway. So a lot of people don't know that he was one of the guys that would bring me in because he had his own studio and
yeah,
he was pretty dope as a lyricist and like he would rap. And even though he's known as a producer, I
yeah.
got introduced to him
Got
rapping
you.
on stage. They were doing youth nights in Jersey City, and he would be out there, you know, getting on the mic, getting busy, and rapping at a high
Yeah,
level, you know, at
yeah,
his age. So that's how pretty much things started happening for me. Then I met this brother that goes by the name of DJ One Love, who used to run around with Corey Red. He used to be in that circle with Corey Red and Richie Righteous and at the prisoner who at the time was Minister Zion and Frankie Cutlass. I don't know if you remember when
yeah,
Frankie Cutlass
yeah,
started doing Christian stuff.
yeah,
So
yeah,
DJ One Love was like connected to those guys in that camp. And he was like, yo, I feel like you got raw talent. Let's work on a mixtape together.
yeah.
And the way I met him was, you making me go back. This is crazy. Yo, I used to burn CDs. I used to burn CDs. Wow, CDs, crazy. I used to burn CDs and have like a demo.
Yeah,
And I would walk up to people like because I used it as like a evangelistic tool.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
So I'm just I would burn a bunch of CDs
yeah,
and I would go up to people, hey, look, this is my CD. I go by the name of, Young Paul, whatever, da da da.
yeah,
And he happened to be one of the people I gave my CD to. I didn't even know who he was. He happened to be a DJ. So anyway, he was one of the people I handed the CD to.
yeah,
And I didn't even know he was a DJ. I didn't know who he was connected to. I'm just giving the CD out, the
yeah,
CDs out in the with the mindset of like I want to plant seeds. This is for the kingdom. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And he sees me the next day. Um, or I think he took down my number. Something I forgot exactly how we were able to reconnect, but he's like, "Yo, I heard your CD," and at the time I wrote a song about abortion through
mm,
the lens of Christ,
yeah,
and he's like, "Yo, that song really impacted me," and
yeah,
because he started sharing with me, things that he was going through in his personal life, especially when it
yeah,
came to that topic.
yeah,
He's like, "Yo, let's connect." And then we started connecting. He's like, yo, let me know next time you're gonna be in the studio. I'll go with you. I told him. Then he's like, yo, I got another studio I could take you to, like a more official studio.
yeah,
And now I'm recording my first Christian mixtape. I'm in the same studio with my song, Cuban Link. You know what I mean? Like all the at the time, your Terror Squad dudes, you know, this at the time my son and them were messing with 50 in them. So it
yeah,
was pretty crazy how that went.
yeah,
And he would this guy DJ One Love. He was also real close with DJ Morph. You know DJ Morph
Yeah,
from
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Florida.
yeah, 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 of course.
Yeah, so
Of
he got
course.
he got me
Best of
and
the
DJ.
submissions.
Yeah, right. So he got me and DJ Morph connected, and Morph put me on to some of the artists he was working with out in Florida,
Yeah,
like Eddie Nigma, G Notes, and then
yeah,
just connecting me with all these Christian artists. And mind you, I ain't really officially put out nothing Christian as far as these CDs I was burning. So
yeah,
I'm getting on records now with like Heath Song Lee, Seda,
yeah,
DJ Morph's people. He got Braille sending me drops. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
K Drama. I did it. I had me and K Drama did a record for my mixtape. You know
Wow,
what I'm saying? Like that's
that's
why
crazy.
K Drama. I gotta salute him because he pulled up for me twice. Like we
Wow.
sent him a verse and he sent back verses. Like he didn't really know me like that, but he respected the grind. I feel like
Yeah,
God also moved on his heart or whatever. And my first Christian mixtape was stacked. You know what I'm saying? Like I had bad people on there. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man DJ One Love. Shout out to my man DJ Morph because they
yeah,
definitely came together and they made it happen for me. So that was my first Christian mixtape. It was called The Real Answer. Um, and then yeah, from there it was just the same thing. I used to just grind it out. I used to burn mad CDs of that mixtape, go out, different places, especially the neighborhoods that I was from, and I was just giving them out CDs, CDs, CDs,
wow.
CDs. You know what I mean? And then I just started evolving as an artist. I started growing into who I am as an artist, really appreciating art from that perspective. And I feel like that was
Yeah,
all God because I'm praying, I'm asking God to help me to be a better artist, teach me you know, put people around me. He put me around a lot of great MCs, man. Like I'll be in the
wow.
studio with some of the best rappers who did it, as far as Christian or not Christian, and I'm in the studio with them and I'm watching them record them. I'm like, wow, blown away. I got bodied on a couple records, but yo, this is this is how. Listen, this is what I tell people. This is how I try to explain it. I was thrown into like the Lions Den with all these great MCs, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That were
yeah,
seasoned already.
yeah,
And they're bodying me on these records, you know what I mean?
yeah,
But it was like it was like getting like my when I was younger, my pops, this is how he was as a parent. When I was younger, he saw a kid mess with me, he made me fight him.
oh
You know what I'm saying?
wow. Yeah,
So I used to get into a lot of fights as a young kid, and that's
yeah,
why I was such a beast when I
yeah,
got older. In my neighborhood, I was known for that because I was thrown into the Lions Den at such a young age, and I took my licks. I got beat up by bigger kids,
yeah,
but it made me tough. Keep it 100. It just made me
yeah,
tough. It had
yeah,
and so like with the music, I was getting beat up on these records, but it made me tough as an artist. Like it made me step my,
yeah,
my pen game up. I was like, yo,
yeah,
I ain't getting bodied on these records no more, bro. It ain't
yeah,
happening. Like, you know what I'm saying? But obviously, that's one aspect of the music. The main goal at the time, and it still is, was to be led by God
yeah.
and push the kingdom and all of this stuff.
So, like, what was that studio? You said some amazing stuff, but
Mm.
like being in the studio with mainstream artists, what was their take on your music? Like, what was their take on? What was my son's take on YP or like Terror Squad or
Yeah,
other people that you named? Like, what was their take on what you were doing?
there was this dude, and he went by the name of E. He was like a manager, and he was running around with some of these guys that I
Yeah,
mentioned. And he said, "Yo, I want you to know something, bro." So my style of them, they will give me my respect. Like every time we come here, yeah, I respect you. I respect your grind, young blood. You know what I mean? Like, yo,
yeah,
man, keep going. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And they were like, yo, I hear what you talk about. Yo, talk. They talking how they talk. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And but this dude Eve, I remember like it was yesterday. I was recording a record, and when I got out the booth, he was in tears.
Mm,
And he was like the manager. These like he was running around with these guys,
yeah,
and he just sat in my session. Um, Wow, it's crazy. I look back, I'm like, oh, this is so nuts. I remember he was crying, like literally there, just bawling.
yeah.
And he was like, yo, man, the presence that's on your music, the anointing is really just hitting my heart right now. The things that you're
Jeez.
saying, like, we need more of this.
Yeah.
Like those are moments that I remember, from being in the studio, just, and fast forward, talking about Cuban Link, a couple of years later, he's like front row in one of these shows where I'm performing at one, me and John Joe.
Yeah.
Cuban Link is there in the front row, like, yo, I rock with you, you know. And then we wind
Yeah.
up hitting the studio together. We have like this cipher in the tuck that never came out. Me, Cuban Link, and a bunch of these guys. But um, Cuban Link share that with me. He's like, yo, I heard y'all album. I like it. I like what y'all doing, man. Y'all got raw talent, like stuff like that. Like I
Yeah.
remember those moments. So yeah, pretty
That's
crazy.
just yeah. That's so crazy that they know though. Like they
Right.
know what is needed, but
Uh huh.
the devil is so real, man. Like he will have you like know hearing the truth, but still be like stay in your mess, which is crazy. Like
Right. Right.
you know what I mean? Because you're
Right.
like, yo, I'm saying to these people, like, yo, God, I'm giving the message, I'm giving them, I'm giving this, and they're like, bro, this is needed. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. Right.
you know what I mean? What will make
Facts.
them get behind that? You know what I'm saying? So like,
Right.
I always
Right.
wonder about that. Like, but you know what? Like you said that in the beginning of your transition, it's like God and the devil is like fighting with these cats. Their hearts are fighting, and even with us. Like sometimes
Yeah.
your flesh could be like on fire, and you like, God help me, the spirit. You know what I'm saying? So, but I always
Right.
think about them as like, I don't know if I could sit somewhere and hear somebody spit like incredible stuff and be like,
Right. Right.
am I still? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I just think that's an interesting thing to hear people from the industry talk about that and still go back and do their own old foolish ways. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. 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 Well, it's the heart condition, man. The Bible says our
Yeah,
hearts are desperately wicked above all things, man. You know,
yeah,
even as Christians, we see that we could be, we could shout Jesus' name to the rooftop and still be
yeah,
going through things, behind the scenes, and it's a real thing. That's why, I'm very. That's why the approach I take, and I used to be a hellfire and brimstone type of guy.
yeah,
I noticed that, especially a lot of guys that come from the street, we got this like this militant mindset, this tough, way of doing things, and we're like, "Yo, you going to hell, bro? You gotta get right." Like, blah, blah, blah. We like
yeah,
real aggressive with the gospel, and and it takes like us falling on our face to really humble us and realize, like, yo, where the grace
yeah,
at? Where the peace? Where's the mercy?
yeah,
Where's the
yeah,
love?
yeah. It's
And
like,
me,
yeah. I'm
yeah.
sorry, man. Go ahead, bro. I mean to cut
No,
you
I'm
off. My
just saying,
bad.
me falling and stumbling so many times as a Christian has humbled me with how I approach people when it comes to the gospel. I
Yeah,
come real low to the ground, and I'm like, yo, look, I don't even feel qualified, but I'm just telling you, bro, like, Jesus is real. He died for us. He loves us. His love for us
yeah,
is unconditional. I'm not saying here. I'm not trying to act like I'm better than you because I'm not. You know. Paul Washer said something one time. Paul Washer says a couple of things clearly, right, that has impacted me. But Paul Washer said something one time. Yeah, you would think that's why I call myself YPAK Young Paul. But he said one time, he was like, "Oh, all of you in here think that you're good." You know how he preaches, huh?
yeah,
You think you're good? He's like, I stand here right now, and I tell you, if God snatched the heart out of my chest and put it on this altar, all of us would run out of here embarrassed. If he snatched all of
mm,
our hearts out and put it on his altar for everyone to see, we would all run out of this place feeling embarrassed.
mm.
And the place, he says those things that just you hear a pin drop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
everybody was just quiet because it's like, yo, that's real.
yeah,
That's real. Like,
yeah.
everybody got their own things that they dealing with. You feel me? So
Yeah, but real quick, man.
mhm.
Tell us about that song about abortion. What was your perspective on that? Like, what was
Yeah,
that? What was that like? Like, what made you write that? Or not? You don't have to go in that detail,
yeah,
but
yeah.
what was your perspective? Was you coming from like the baby, or was you coming from the
Um,
mother? What was the perspective about that song?
yo, it was so long ago, my bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's been so,
Gotcha.
it's so long ago. I don't even know where that song is at. But if I remember, um, I was talking about it from like God's perspective and how He views abortion,
Yeah,
and um and then just kind of, if I remember correctly, talking from a human perspective as well, like responding as
yeah,
to why we do it, why people do it or whatever,
yeah,
and like to try to justify it.
yeah,
And yeah, it's like one of those back and forth records. I might have
yeah,
to recreate and do something like that again, but you know,
yeah,
um, because I definitely have my personal experience with it, and
yeah,
just a lot of stuff happens in life, man. Just a
yeah,
lot of stuff happen in life, And yeah, maybe I need to revisit that.
Got you.
Yeah.
But like talk about now, man. We gonna fast forward. Talk
So
about.
I
Go
do
ahead.
want to share a crazy story though, because
Okay. Yeah.
this is like a Vlad type of thing, right? So I do
Yeah.
want to share like
Yeah.
another crazy story with you. Like
Yeah.
I actually have two that are pretty crazy, but I'm gonna
Okay.
share one, and if we have time, we're going to the other one. But
Got you.
I remember now I'm saved. I'm going to this little Pentecostal church because at the
Yeah.
time that's all I knew. Like I just want to be around these people. I want to be around God. I don't care about no one else, nothing else. This
Yeah.
is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. At this point, I'm like on fire, you know.
Got you.
And I had so much influence in my neighborhood. Like I remember one time I went back outside. It's been a minute that I was outside. I went back outside for it's been a while, and my friends had seen me because I remember I distanced myself
Oh
from them for
yeah.
a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like a Friday night. You know, Friday night, everybody getting lit. They copping their bottles. They ready to go
Yeah.
chill.
Yeah.
And I remember I finally came outside a long time, and I was with my man Chover that ministered to me.
Yeah.
Now he's like, all right, now we're gonna go together outside. Well, let's do this together. We're gonna go tag team. And I remember I would have literally like 50 people, 50 street dudes, some of the toughest guys in our neighborhood, all surround me just listening to my story. Because remember, I had a lot of influence in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
popular. I was known for being
Putting
one of
that
them
work
guys
in.
that was with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I came outside, yo, hey, oh my God, it's been a minute. Where you been? Now they calling me, yo, he's over here. So they surrounded me. I'm 30 deep, and my man Trevor looking like, wow, bro, like this is crazy how God using you. And it's a Friday night, dark, it's late outside, and they're hearing me talk about Jesus. They're hearing me testify.
Wow.
Like yo, I remember moments like that, and it happened several times where I'll draw a
Yeah.
crowd in my neighborhood, like in the hoods that I came from. I'll draw crowds, all street dudes just listening to me and giving me that respect because I
Yeah.
earned that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Putting
Yeah.
in that,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So they know,
Yeah.
like, yo, we know this guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, what he's saying, like, it got to be real. Who the heck is this? Like, you're a holy
Yeah.
person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, so I remember around that time. So that's happening, right? I'm drawing crowds and I'm ministering to people and it's getting around or whatever. I'm in church, and obviously, you know, because I was active, I
Yeah.
had a lot of enemies as well. You
Oh
know,
wow.
so I remember like right before I'm gonna get to the main story, like I remember another situation. I seen this dude I had beef with, and he was like with seven dudes, and I was there with just one of my
Mm.
guys, and he was like a Christian brother, good going church brother. He wasn't about that type of life, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm with him, and I'm like, yo, I feel God moving in my heart to go minister to him. I don't know. He was probably nervous. He was like, "You sure, God? He sure, God? They're a little deep over there. It's only two of them. You know what I'm saying?" And
Yeah.
I'm like, I just feel it, yo. I got. He's like, all right. So I go up to him, and you could tell they see who it is that's approaching
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
And at first, they looking at me like, yo, this dude gonna come up to us on some wild stuff. And I go up to him like, yo, look, I know it's gonna sound crazy and random, but yo, I just want you to know, yo, that Jesus loves you. I'm not coming over here on no violence or that beef stuff that squash with us, you know. But it's my duty now to now let you know about this Savior. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Let you know about this hell that exists. Let you know about this heaven that exists.
Yeah.
Let you know about the
Yeah.
Savior that died for. And he looking at me like, yo, what is going on right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, what? And and once again, even my
Yeah.
enemies who hated my guts, they knew that I gave it up though. So
Yeah.
even my enemies, when I spoke to them, listened and gave me that respect. And they were like, wow. Like there's been moments, like there was one moment a dude started crying and hugged me. Some dude I had
Wow.
beef with. You know what I'm saying? And then
Yeah.
these guys that I approached, they were kind of deep. They all listened to me. They all heard
Wow.
me out. They let me minister to them. And they were like,
Wow.
yo, you know what? We respect that. Yo, God bless. Look at what God was doing.
Yeah.
God bless. Yo, you know, keep doing your thing.
Yeah. He was mending that.
Mending that. Like I remember
Yeah.
when I remember like moments like before I get to the main one, I remember being at church, I'm getting phone calls like with because I had you know beef with dudes
Yeah.
like the dudes from the projects that caught us slipping.
Yeah.
I was after them. We was going at it for a little while
Yeah.
after that.
Yeah.
Then I get a phone call. Hey yo, look, hey yo, boo, so he over here. Yo, he waiting for you. Da, da, da. And I'm over here like, yo. bro, I'm not on that type of time no more, man.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, yo, tell him I said Jesus loves you. Because remember, I was really, but he was like, what? Yo, heck, you sure, bro? This is my homie here. I'm like, yo, heck, you gonna look crazy. I'm like, I don't care, bro. I love Jesus. Tell him
Yeah.
when I see him, I'm gonna
Yeah.
talk to him about Jesus too.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, like, so this is why they think I'm going crazy, right?
Yeah.
So all these things is happening, like I'm trying to give you like highlights quickly,
Yeah.
And so I remember this one. This was one of the biggest ones. I'm in the church, and this dude comes up to me after the service, right?
Yeah.
He comes up to me after the service, and I remember who it is.
Mm.
And this is somebody that unfortunately I did, you know, I hurt him real bad, you
Yeah.
know. But to be fair, he was poking the bear, and make a long story short,
The bear
and I'm
got
not,
at it.
I'm not saying this to glorify nothing.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah. Yeah.
keeping it real. This really happened,
Yeah.
This dude, we got into it. It was in a Chinese store on my block. We
Yeah.
got into it, and I wind up, stolen off of him. I cracked his autobahn, this
Mm.
joint right here,
Yeah.
like completely put him out. Um, I took his stuff. You know what I mean? I think he had some money on him. I took it from, like, because at this point I just went ape. Like, I was like, yo, I'm going
Yeah.
crazy. Like, unfortunately that happened. Like, I share that story very, like, I don't want to sound like I'm glorifying it, but it's just the
Yeah.
facts.
No, no,
And
it's telling you it's your story.
yeah,
Yeah.
so he had to get surgery. I beat him up really bad.
Wow.
And he was he had put money on my head looking for me.
Oh, wow.
So he sees me in church. He sees me worshiping and praying. Now, mind you, we haven't seen each other for years at this point.
Wow.
He sees me. He goes up to me. He says, you know, and I see him, which I felt a little awkward and stuff, whatever. But I said to him, I said, yo, he sees me. I see him. And I say, yo, look, I just want to tell you, bro, sincerely, I'm sorry for, what I did to you, bro. Like, you know, um, he was like, he looked at me. He's like, you see my eye? He's like, I had to get surgery. This ain't a real eye.
Mm.
And he goes, I hated you. I hated you because every time I saw my face, it reminded me of what you did to me. And he's
Mm.
like, but I see you here. I see you worshiping. I see you praying. I could see it, that God really working on you. Like, you are a new person. And he says,
Mm.
he said that to me
Yeah.
blesses me. And he starts crying. He was like, you don't understand how bad I wanted to get you. He was like, yo,
Wow.
he's like, yo, I put money on your head.
Mm.
And he was like, and he just started crying and bawling. He was like, but you know what? You belong to Jesus now. My hands is off of that. That's exactly what he said to
Oh,
me. And he hugs me.
jeez.
He hugs me, and he's bawling, and I'm just there, yo, I love you, bro. Yo, it was a moment. It was like
Yeah.
a crazy moment.
Jeez.
And like stuff like that I would experience. So it's like a lot of crazy, you know?
That's an amazing story.
Yeah.
And that story
Yeah.
is so amazing that
Yeah.
like you see that I think the real dudes in the streets,
Yeah. Yeah.
when they see God is really doing something in somebody's life, they they
Right.
they go like, nah, I'm gonna put my hands off that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Facts. Facts.
dude, if long I remember somebody telling me this, they were telling me a story kind of like yours, and it
Yeah.
was like a guy came up to him and was like, yo, as long as you in this church and you doing the right thing, you good. But if you get
Yeah.
about this church,
That's a fact.
it's on
That's
and
a fact.
popping.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
no,
it was
it's
like,
it's real. That's why it gotta be real, man. It gotta be
yeah,
real. It gotta be real because if you play with this, you get hurt real bad, man. And
yeah. And then people are
um,
watching, honestly. Your conversion right now
yeah,
is preaching louder
hmm
than any preacher can preach to people because
facts.
they see like, yo, heck was he been putting in work. He on fire for like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yo, that's real. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's why we gotta really like God help our hearts, like you said earlier, like help
That's
our
right.
hearts so that
That's
we
right.
can really like live this thing out so people can
That's
be
right.
like, this
That's
is
right.
authentic because I seen him
Yeah.
go through this transformation. He ain't always
hmm
been perfect, but at the
That's
same
right.
time, I
Yeah.
seen him transform into a person that he's the totally different person that he used to be.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, my bro. I'm gonna keep 100. my homies that I ministered to that see me transform, they've also seen me swim back in the mud. They've also seen me go back to my vomit.
Yeah.
And they respected my conversion so much. And they know how loose I was, that even when I was in my slumber, like I was, my moments of just
Yeah.
rebelling, it's almost like they were gracious to me because they were like, yo,
Mm.
like when my man Mac died, I remember they asked me to pray at his funeral, and I was nervous,
Yeah.
and I prayed at his funeral. I didn't know that this was gonna happen. I prayed in his funeral, and you see a bunch of gangsters crying, walking up to me, hugging me, like, yo,
Wow.
man, that was a beautiful prayer. Like God's presence fell. You know what I mean? At my man's
Mm.
funeral. So stuff like that. So when they see me, in a bad place, they're like, yo, we know where you came from, and we know what
Yeah.
God has done in your life. And we love you, my brother, and we know you're gonna
Yeah.
bounce back from this. And then some of these guys are not even active Christians. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, more gracious than my own brothers. You know what I'm saying? Still
Yeah.
saved. Because
Yeah.
because there's a connection that they know. Like, and
Yeah.
that's why I tell brothers, young brothers of the faith, whenever we chop it up, I'm like, yo, look, God will humble you if you walking around acting holier than now, bro. God will
Yeah.
humble you. We gotta be careful with that. There's a balance. There should be a balance. We should
Yeah.
definitely never compromise the truth, but
Yeah.
we should always ask God to help us. With our approach.
Yeah.
Lead with love, lead with grace, lead with mercy. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Be
Yeah.
patient. We gotta be
Yeah.
patient with humans because, bro, we're humans, man. We're so unpredictable, man. We could
Yeah.
be good today and tomorrow be wilding.
Yeah. Because I mean, you think about like John the Baptist and
Yeah,
like how he was on fire and preaching
yeah,
brimstone, and
yeah.
then he go to prison and he goes, "Hey man, go see if
Yeah.
Jesus is the real."
Right, right. Like he had that moment of doubt, like, oh, what's going on? That's true. That's a fact. That's a
So,
fact, man.
but I think at times we just have to be wise. We have to be careful. We have to. This flesh is just so crazy that we have
Absolutely.
to be like God, be led by the Spirit. It sounds
Yeah.
harder than it is, but at the same time, it's one of those things where it's like, God, I gotta trust you with that area of my life. I have to
Yeah,
get some
man.
accountability for it. I need some help in it, but at the same time, I have to love. Because even with that, I was telling somebody recently, I was like, it's certain stuff in my life I know I had to be like, okay, that's enough. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. You
Like,
get look, when you have a genuine relationship with God,
yeah,
when you're doing things that he considers rebellious or in direct opposition to his word, or in direct opposition to who he is as a holy God,
yeah,
you get disgusted with it. You start fighting it because you're like, yo, I genuinely love God. His spirit genuinely resides in me. So no, we're gonna fight this. We gotta fight
yeah,
this. Like you said, like you get fed up with it. That you start, all right, man, hold me accountable. This is what's going on, or you go on a fast or whatever the case may be.
yeah,
But that's what this walk is, though. I'm glad you said that. That's what this walk is, bro. It's like,
yeah.
and this is why I tell people, I'm like, yo, all right, you may be struggling in this area, but look at what God has done in these other areas. You know
Mm,
what I mean? Like a
yeah,
lot of people want to focus on this one thing that they're doing wrong, and they start walking in condemnation. And the Bible
yeah.
says there's no condemnation for those who are in Christ. We're
Mm,
working out, our salvation. Like we're working out who we are. We didn't have to do anything to earn it, but meaning like we're still perfecting our faith. We're still growing. We're still maturing. But sometimes what we tend to do is we focus on what we're not doing right, and we're like, yo, but look at what God has really shown me how to be peaceful in the midst of adversity. God has shown me how to be
yeah,
gracious when I didn't want to be gracious. God has shown me how to be merciful when I didn't want to be merciful. you know, like there's so many areas where I've seen God like be God, and I've seen the redemption and the resurrection and the chains
mm,
broken. And then
yeah,
there's other areas like, oh, okay. So I see this is where the Bible says a battle daily of the flesh versus the spirit. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's crazy. It's gonna be a battle to the day when in his presence, bro. I mean, the
yeah,
apostle Paul made that very clear. He
yeah,
said, that I want to do, I don't do, and that I don't want to do, I do. He said, I live in this corrupt flesh, and I will be in this corrupt flesh until I'm in the presence of the Lord in my
yeah,
incorrupt body. You know what I'm saying? Like Apostle Paul be dropping gems when it comes to our struggles as men who love God, as human beings, and our identity in Christ. Like he really nails it, where it's like, nah,
yeah,
we still gotta do what we're called to do. And my alone time with God, I'm like, Lord, remove this thorn, but I'm still
yeah,
gonna go out there and do what you called me to do.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like, yeah, man.
Man, it's been good, bro. Like, your story was amazing, bro. I'm
Man,
glad we
thank
got
God.
to talk about it. We
Yeah,
could talk about your music, what you
yeah,
got going on.
yeah,
How
yeah.
how'd you just talk about what you got going on real quick, and then we
Okay,
could
yeah,
do
no,
my this or that game.
let's go, let's go. So, I got a mixtape. I'm gonna drop in January. It's called my Happy New Year mixtape. It's
Yeah,
gonna be, like I said, over a lot of like classic beats and like current beats.
yeah,
And I'm gonna put that out. I'm gonna throw it on the DSPs. Hopefully, they don't get flagged. I'm gonna throw it on DSP, but I'm also gonna have it on Bandcamp. But the DSPs be robbing us anyway, man. So listen, man. You know what I mean?
uh,
I know an artist. I don't know if you're familiar with him. 38 Special. He threw up a whole mixtape called 1995 over all industry beats. Fire mixtape, and it's all freestyle. So that's what I want to do. I want to put out a mixtape where it's just all freestyles, no
yeah.
hooks really. It's just an appetizer for the album. Finally, I'm gonna put out another album this year. I haven't put out a full length album since Hector that I put out
Yeah.
in 2023. So I'm gonna put out a full length album. I haven't really publicly told anybody this, but I'm gonna tell you right now.
Okay.
um, it's actually a project that Marty pretty much like executive produced, and
Wow.
he produced 50% of it, and then his one of his guys, Jimmy Javier, who y'all gonna get real familiar with him as a producer. He's fire. He produced the other half. So him and Marty, we had like a group chat.
Yeah.
Marty reached out to me. Initially, it was gonna be like an EP, but then it turned into a full length album. So
Dope.
it's the first time I'm actually like really saying it, but
Yeah.
we don't have like a date. I'm gonna keep it real with you. It's still being mixed and mastered. I got 5 of the records fully mixed and mastered. I'm still waiting for the other half. So
Yeah.
I've been on my engineer about that. But in the meantime, I'm putting out a mixtape with all freestyles in January. It's called Happy New Year mixtape. Then I'm gonna put out a 5 song EP that's already mixed and mastered. No, I'm sorry, it's already recorded. It's not mixed and
Got you.
mastered yet. So it's gonna be the mixtape EP. I got a record on there with C4 and Selah. You know, we had to get together
Yeah.
and bring back that Judas album, that '99 album feel. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so we got a record on there together for my EP, and then the album, hopefully. So
Wow.
it's the mixtape EP and then the album, and then in between that, me and Commissioner got a Guillotines project cooking up. Um,
Okay.
yeah, we had an EP already done, but we was like, you know what, let's add like 2 or 3 more records. So it's gonna turn
Yeah.
into it's still gonna have probably EP vibe, like we'll market it that way, but it's gonna have more than just 4 records because initially we're just gonna put 4 records out, but
Yeah.
we'll probably have like 6, 7 records on there. So we have that in the tuck. So Happy New Year mixtape. My EP, I'm titling it Beef and Broccoli, Beef and Brock. And then the album that was produced by Marty and his man Jimmy, and then
Yeah.
the Guillotines project. And I might have like a little something with my man Joseph SD. But so that's pretty much what's in the work for me this year as far as music is concerned.
Wow. Beef
Yeah.
and broccoli always reminds me of that Chinese number one of those Chinese joints that you get. Like, yo, man, give me
Facts.
that beef and broccoli.
Facts. So we bring, the beef and Brock Tibbs and all that. So that's the vibe we're bringing on this project. It's like Hector's baby. Like it's like if Hector had a little baby, that's what beef and Brock would be. Because initially it
Okay.
was gonna be like long as the Lord say, and this one, we wanted to do Hector Part Two, but it just wasn't. It wasn't feeling like Hector Part Two,
Yeah.
but it had some of that in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we just decided to call it something else. So Beef and Broccoli, the EP, hopefully comes out in March. Happy New Year mixtape, God willing, comes out in January. We're almost at the end of January, but I'm trying to get it out right before January is over. And then the album with that Marty and his man produced. We don't know exactly what day that's gonna come out, but I still need to get the masters for half the
Yeah.
project. So,
Yeah.
but all of
Wow.
that's in the work. And the Guillotines project, that's pretty much 90% done. So we got a lot coming this year.
You sure do, bro. You
Yes,
sure
sir.
do. All
Yes, sir.
right,
Yes, sir.
man. Let's do this little. Let me do my this or that, and I'm gonna
Let's
let you
go.
go, YP.
Let's
All right,
do this.
man.
Let's go.
Here we go.
All right.
This or that. Path train commute
Uh huh.
or driving through the Holland Tunnel. What you got?
I hate taking the trains, so I'm gonna say I'll drive through the tunnel. I hate taking the trains.
So you got the tunnel.
I'm going with the tunnel.
Okay.
Yep.
Bagels from Wonder Bagels or pizza from Raza.
Wonder Bagels.
Okay.
Wonder Bagel. Facts.
Okay. Jersey City Puerto Rican Festival or the All About Downtown Street Fair.
I'm going with Jersey City Puerto Rican Festival. That's just my childhood right there. That
Got you.
you know what I mean? That's home base.
Got you. All
Yeah.
right. Morning studio session or late night studio session?
Ooh, that's a tough one, man. Dang, that's a good one. You know what? Man, ain't nothing like a morning session, man. You got your coffee, maybe your little bagel, or bacon, egg, and cheese or something, and you go in there and you start rapping. You know, what I mean? You just start
Yeah.
going crazy. Yeah, I think that I love that vibe right there. Yeah, morning. I would prefer morning sessions.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
EP releases or
hmm
full length album?
Okay, so here's the tricky part. I like full length albums, but like just 10 or 11 records.
Okay. So
So a little
well
more
that's
than an
to
EP.
me that's an album. You know what I mean?
All right,
If you
so yeah,
wanted to,
that's me too. If I
yeah,
put out a project with 10 songs or more, that's an album. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Facts. So I'm gonna
All
go with
right. What you
that
going
length
with?
album. That
The
length album, 10, 11 record album.
okay.
Yeah.
90s boom bap,
hmm
Havoc and Premier beats, or Griselda sound in production?
Like Derringer and them.
Yeah.
And what was the other one?
90s boom bap style beats. Like Premier, RZA, Havoc. Who you got?
Alchemist, right?
Alchemist,
Nah,
yeah.
I gotta go. Those are my guys. That's the golden era right there. I gotta go with the '90s boom bap. Even
Got
though
you.
I love the current boom bap. I mean, we rap over more of the current boom bap sound now,
Yeah.
but gotta pay homage to the golden era.
Golden era. All right. This
Yeah.
one may be tricky for you. I don't know.
Okay.
The Commissioner
Oh man.
or
Oh,
Riggs?
who? The commissioner
Riggs.
on Riggs? Oh, you gonna make me do this? You really gonna put me on the spot like this? Yo, I mean, normally on Drinks Head, what they do is like, all right, I'll just take a shot. What do we do here
Yeah.
if we want both?
Hey, promise me to do like 10 push-ups or do some push-ups later.
I'll
Or do
record myself doing 10 push-ups and send it to you.
no, you don't got to. All right, so both for you. All right.
Yeah.
Wanda Beats or Ayo Shamir.
Oh man, you gonna have me beefing with my own brothers, man. They gonna be looking at me crazy. Nah, I'm gonna have to go with both again, man. 10
Okay.
push-ups. My
Okay,
push-ups
so that's
going up.
20. That's
That's
20.
20. 20
If the Lord
push-ups.
put on your heart to do 20, you good.
20,
All right.
20 push-ups.
All right. Christian
Yeah.
rapper or rapper who is Christian.
Man, yo. So, I mean, look, for me,
Yeah.
I wear that badge proudly. I don't mind. But I also understand the brother that's like, yo, I'm a Christian who raps. But
Yeah.
um, so you're asking me which one I would prefer?
Yeah. Yeah. Which one you prefer?
It's tough. Yo, this is tough. This is tough.
But you said
Oh my
you
god.
like the title. You said you like the title, so I'm
I
guessing
wear the badge
Christian
proudly, so yeah, I guess Christian rapper. Yeah.
Christian rapper.
Because I
All
wear
right.
that badge proudly. I don't mind. Like it is what it is. You could call me that. That's fine.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Last one.
Yeah.
Hot written verse on a project or a hot freestyle verse for IG.
Say it again.
I said a hot written verse
Okay.
on a project
Uh-huh.
or a hot freestyle verse for IG.
Hot written verse on the project. That's gonna be
Okay.
more timeless. Yeah, the IG's a
Yeah.
moment. The verse on the project, that's timeless. That's something that people could go back to.
Yeah. Got you.
Yeah, yeah.
YP, bro. Thank
My
you.
guy.
Thank you for this time, man.
Of course. Thank you, brother. Thanks
This
for
was
having me.
this was fun. I
Yes,
love your
sir.
story, bro. Thank you
Yeah,
for
man.
talking to me about everything, man. And
Sure.
bro, shout out all your socials, bro.
Yo, listen, man. First of all, thank you for having me, bro. You know, you a legend in this thing. I love what you're doing. I want to give you your flowers too, bro. And
Oh,
thanks for having me, man.
appreciate it.
Yeah, man. And my IG is at YP, aka Young Paul.
Yeah.
Twitter at YP Music Live. And on the DSPs and Apple Music, it's YP, aka Young Paul.
Got you, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for rocking with me, man.
You already know, my bro.
You know what? Years ago, you was like, bro, we need to do a mixtape. And honestly, I was just so scared to host a mixtape at that time, bro.
Oh, yeah, man. I
You know,
think that would be
I
fire.
was like that, but I feel like I redeemed myself with this interview. Did I?
Facts. Nah, I had a great time.
Okay.
time.
Okay.
My
All right,
brother.
y'all. We are out, Kingdom Citizens. Remember, Kingdom Ox on all the platforms. See you later. We are out.